The TF2 market is a big deal, and Valve makes a ton of money from it, so they're gonna have good reason to try protecting it. I will explain 3 major exploits which a guy posted about on Reddit in detail. The 3 exploits are titled the Giftable a Key exploit, the Deflector Grant Any Item exploit, and the Main Economy exploit. If you want to see the original post, I'll put a link down in the descriptions for you to see. But I want to start out with the oldest first, which is the Main Economy exploit. Back when the Manco store was just released, it was expected to have some flaws because it was brand new, which is probably why Valve started out slow, like with a small store to start with. But back when the Manco store was really early, the item scheme had no checksums, and a checksum is basically a fingerprint for a data range, and it's used for the receiver to check if the range is still the exact same it was when the sender sent it. So in this case, for the game to check if the items items_game.txt was still the same as in the server. So this means that one was free to change the item scheme to one's will. This allows you to change the actual data of items, and even things like paints in paint cans. Normally TF2 downloads a version of items_games.txt on every game start, but if you blocked out the server in one of your host files on Windows, you could change it to your will. You know, there are officially like 29 official colors of paint. At least as of this video. It's probably gonna change in the future. But they're all based on the RGB format. And the RGB, which stands for red, green, and blue, is what computers use to display all colors. So when you look at your yellow on your screen, it's actually not any yellow light coming at your eyes. It's just a mixture of red, green, and blue that creates the illusion. So a screen can create any color with red, green, and blue. And since paints are also based on this, you can make any color you wish for in the 8-bit range of the color scheme, which equals around 256 cubed, or almost 17 million different colors. This guy even made a cyan color. He's the guy. The original poster is the guy that found this exploit. The other two he's just describing. He made it cyan color and actually painted his Ushanka cyan. So next up is the quite more serious Grant Any Item exploit, and this allows you to block out new downloads for items_game.txt, but still no checksums were in place. By going into this file and adding base item 1 to an entry in the file, it will show up as a stock item. Now this might not seem like a big deal, but if you know how renaming stock weapons work, you'll realize the problem. When you use a name tag on a stock item, the stock item won't disappear. That wouldn't make any sense because you always need the stock items. And instead, you'll be granted a clone of that item with a name. Not only that, but you could also change the attributes of said item to have effects, and even things like resistance and movement speed. So you can have like different and unusual effects on it, and even game-changing effects. And it will only cost you a name tag. Now last but not least, we have the Giftable Key exploit, which is just pretty recent discovery. So after all the deal with the checksums, Valve added this checksum to make sure that you couldn't use items on other items that weren't supposed to do that. So let's say you can't actually open a crate with a Southern hospitality. You had to actually use a key because a key can be used with a crate. Now there's one thing they looked over. With keys and giftables being introduced, giftables can also be used on crates. So if you block the servers using the host file again, you could use a giftable to open a crate with, and that's pretty cheap. It's like 3 cents in order to open something that's like $2.50. All you had to do was change the capabilities in the items_game.txt to, instead of wrapping the it's basically one line you have to adjust, and instead of being able to gift a crate, it should be able to decode it or unlock it, as it's called in the code for unboxing something. So I hope you clued yourself in on some of this, or I clued you in on some of these exploits, and I'm really happy that this community chooses to report these issues and not exploit them to their own will. I mean, they're gonna test them out, but then they report them, and they actually, everyone except the original poster actually got an unusual hat of their choice with the custom effect, even if it's not actually in game. I think one of them got a wiki cap with sunbeams, so that's pretty sweet, and it's pretty sweet reward. So it's very kind of Valve to do that to the bug fixers, and will also encourage people to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Gasoline Base. Have a good day.